$100,000, and then that's what your tax levy is based on. In terms of takeaways from this, you'll recall when we talked about debt capacity, the district is quickly closing in on about $1 billion of assessed value. Under Missouri Constitution, you have the ability to do 15% capacity. So the math is easy on that. That's $150 million. The district has about $20 million of bonds outstanding from previous issues. And so where we stand today is you have about $130 million of available debt capacity. That grows generally over time, one of two ways. As you pay back existing bonds, that amount gets bigger, and then also as the assessed valuation of the district increases, the amount of capacity increases as well. So kind of the first takeaway is certainly for this first phase, you have $130 million available, and so that's more than enough to take care of scenario B or C. And then as we go over time, we've done about a 20-year analysis to look at what the assessed value numbers are and what your debt capacity is, and so you have plenty of general obligation bond debt capacity to do either scenario B or scenario C. Again, GO bonds provide the lowest borrowing cost. There is another option that we talked about called lease purchase financing. I think once we get these scenarios kind of into focus of what the numbers would be in what years, I think what we'll do is a little bit more work in that area to quantify that difference. And then as you saw on the first slide, that issuing more bonds sooner under scenario C ends up being less expensive over the long run. And really that's a combination of the fact that that 67-cent increase is in effect over a longer period of time. That generates more money than the 49-cent levy that would be initially imposed under scenario B, and that impacts how quickly the bonds can be amortized. So at the end of the day, scenario C ends up requiring a smaller increase in the debt levy than under scenario B. The other, I think, benefit, at least the way we would view this with scenario C, is you only have one time that you have to go to the voters and ask for a tax increase. All the subsequent issues that we've shown would be done with no levy increase. And then I think looking out 20 years, and I know that's sometimes hard to do, but you look out 20 years, the district would be in a very good position where these bonds, or many of them, would be repaid, and then you've always got the ability to do no tax increase bond issues going forward. That's similar to what we see around the state. And with that, I think those are kind of the key takeaways from a financing perspective.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Really appreciate the work the chairs have done to provide leadership to the facilitating committee. On behalf of the other facilitating team members, we want to thank them for all the work. Bill and Lois and Lee and Stacy have done a great job pulling us together as a team so we can work on this. This has been a changing process, I think, for the school district in a lot of different ways. When I started this, someone told me, you'll never get 100 people together in St. Joe to talk about anything. And we've done that. We've gotten 200 and 300, 500 people together to talk about how to make our schools better. It's been a tremendous process. It has changed this district. And keep in mind, we're just getting started, okay? I didn't get into this so that we could create a plan that was going to go and sit on someone's desk. Okay? We got into this because we wanted to make a plan that we would interact and make part of this community. We can't make long-range plans without long-range, stable funding to pay for it. I didn't come here to waste my time. So now we've got to put this forward to figure out how we're going to pay for long-range plans. That's the next step. And we can do this. You know, we look at this. This is affordable. $127 on one option for 67 cents. That's about $10 a month. $10.50 a month. It can be done. This isn't something that's out there. It is an ambitious plan. But when implemented, it's going to improve our schools tremendously. I had someone contact me that's from another community and said, you know what, we're talking about $230 million investment in this community for people with a $100,000 home, 127. This person said, this will completely change your community. Your community will never be the same again. It will never be the same. Can you imagine? You know, just invest in $90,000 in the first phase. Our community will be changed forever with education. And we can do this. But not only do we have to work on passing how we're going to move forward to pass a bond issue, we have to think about ending the sunset. The sunset has to go away. That's about teachers, that's about textbooks, that's about technology. We have to have stable funding to move ahead with this. How can we make long-range plans whenever our funding may go away every few years? We've got to run an election just to stay where we are and think about our funding leaving us. We got to take care of that too. So this is something that we can do it. The thing that makes it great, the scenarios, we want your input on this, but by doing a no tax increase fundraising bond issue, we would not have to go back to the taxpayers. We can go one time, and then we can do all the bond issues that we can do. But we need to hear about you. We got into this so we'd hear from the community, okay? And so we need to know what you all think about how we move forward, when we move forward with taking the sunset away first. Do we need to move forward with the bond issue first? How do we do this? I was reading a book a couple of days ago, and there was a quote that jumped out at me. The right choice is hardly ever the easy choice. Okay? It's never going to be easy to go out there and pass this. Another person told me when we first started this process, well, why are we doing this? We're never going to get people to vote for doing anything to improve our schools. That's not true. There's about 20% of this community that's going to support our schools to make them better. There's always going to be about 20% of our community that may not see the wisdom in having taxes to pay for anything. But a passionate, driven 20% that believes in a plan can take that 60% in the middle and make this happen. So if we all band together and we're passionate and we believe, the plan's not going to be perfect, but we all have to come together and believe that we can make it happen and work hard. This community can do a lot of things. And they can make this happen if we all come together and if we're willing to fight for it. It will happen if we're willing to fight for this. And I really believe that. So going forward tonight, it's really important we hear from you. And I thank all of you for your time, for being here and driving this forward. Thank you.